Hi, boys and girls. I have a story for you today. But before we get started on the story, I want you to stop the video and go get a hat. Because we need a hat to tell this story today. Are you ready? Does everybody have their hat on? Well, the name of this story is Caps for Sale. And there's a picture of the cover. Now, I think of this kind of a hat as a cap. Do you see what it looks like? It has like a snap here on the brim. Okay, so this is my cap today, and you have yours, and we're going to act this story out together. Caps for Sale is by Esfer Slobodkin. I think I said his name right. I'm not quite sure. Okay. It says that Caps for Sale is the tale of a peddler, some monkeys, and their monkey business. Now, do you know what a peddler is? A peddler is a man or a woman who goes door to door selling things. So I bet somebody is selling caps in this story. And it's about some monkeys. Well, we know what a monkey is. But what's monkey business? Monkey business is silly messing around. Okay? Getting into trouble. Okay. Once there was a peddler who sold caps. But he was not like an ordinary peddler carrying his wares on his back. He carried them on top of his head. So you see that man? That's the peddler. And look, he has all of these hats on top of him. So we're going to stop the story for a minute, and I'm going to see if I can make myself look like that peddler. I have this cap on, and I went through my house, and I got all different kinds of hats, baseball caps. And let's see if I can put them on, one on top of the other. Okay. Uh-oh, one fell. Oh my goodness, I don't know if I can read a story and wear all these caps. Let's see, I have one more. Oh, I have two more. A pink one. How's that look? And I'll put a blue one all the way up on the top. Okay, now I think I'm ready. First, he had on his very own checked hat. Then a bunch of gray caps, then a bunch of brown caps, and then a bunch of blue caps. And on the very top, he had red caps. Well, I don't have a red one, but you can see what he did. He piled them all up on top of each other. But he had a lot more. Look at that picture. He had a lot of caps on there, maybe 20 caps, one on top of the other. He walked up and down the streets, holding himself very straight as not to upset his caps. As he went along, he called, "Caps, caps for sale, 50 cents a cap." Really carefully so they didn't all fall down. One morning he couldn't sell any caps. He walked up the streets and he walked down the streets calling, "Caps for sale, caps for sale, 50 cents a cap." But nobody wanted any caps that morning. Nobody even wanted a red cap. Oh, I wish I had a red one to put on the top. He began to feel very hungry, but he had no money for lunch. "I think I'll go for a walk in the country," said he, and he walked out of town slowly, so as not to upset the caps on his head. He walked for a long time until he came to a great big tree. That's a nice place for a rest, thought he, and he sat down very slowly under the tree, and he leaned back bit by bit by bit, as not to disturb the hats on his head. So you had to be careful not to have them knock off. He leaned up against the big tree. He was tired and he was leaning on a tree, so what do you think might have happened? I think you guessed it. Let's see. Then he put on his hand to feel if they were straight. His caps were straight. First his check one, then his gray caps and his brown caps and his blue caps, and all the way up on the top the red one. They were all there. So he went to sleep. He slept for a long time. When he woke up, he was refreshed and rested. But before standing up, he felt with his hand to make sure his caps were in the right place. But all he felt was the blue cap I have, the checked cap on his top, on the top. What happened to his hats? He looked to the right of him. No caps. He looked to the left of him. No caps. He looked behind him. No caps. He looked behind the tree. No caps. Oh my goodness. What happened to all the hats? Then he looked up into the tree. And what do you think he saw? Up in the tree, what did he see? Can we see anything? We can't see anything in the picture. Maybe the next page will show us. On every branch up in the tree sat a monkey. On every monkey was a gray or brown or blue or a red cap. Oh my goodness. While he was sleeping, the monkeys must have taken his caps. The peddler looked at the monkeys. The monkeys looked at the peddler. He didn't know what to do. Finally, he spoke to them. "You monkeys, you," he said, shaking his finger at them. "You give me back my caps." But the monkeys only shook their finger back at him and said, "Tss, tss, 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 tss." Must mean something in monkey talk. That made the peddler angry. So he shook both hands at them and said, "You monkeys, you, give me back my caps." And what do you think the monkeys did? You're right. The monkeys only shook their hands back at him and went, "Tss, tss, 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 tss." There they are. Now he was very angry. He stamped his foot and he said, "You monkeys, you better give me back my caps." But the monkeys only stamped their feet back at him and said, "Tss, tss, 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 tss." He is stamping his feet. By the time that the peddler was very, very angry, he stamped both of his feet and shouted, "You monkeys, you give me back my caps." But what do you think the monkeys did? You're right. They stamped their feet, they shook their hands, is all they said. What is he going to do to get all of his hats back? At last he became so angry that he pulled out off his cap and he threw it on the ground and began to walk away. He's really mad. But then the monkeys pulled off their caps. And what did they do? They pulled off their caps and all the gray caps and all the brown caps and all the blue caps and all the red caps came flying down to the ground out of the tree. Oh, instead of leaves falling off the tree, it's hats. So the peddler picked up his caps and put them back on his head. First, his own checked cap. Oh, mine is all the way over here. So first he put on his own cap, checked it to make sure it was on tight, and then he put the gray caps and the brown caps and the blue caps and the red caps all the way up at the top. See, there he is. He piled them all up. And he put all those caps back on his head. Here they are, back here, where I threw them. Put them all back on his head. Got them all back up there. And slowly, slowly, he walked back to town calling, "Caps! Caps for sale! 50 cents a cap!" The end. But isn't that a fun story to act out? Oh, I'm going to take all these caps off. You can act that out with your family. Go around your house, get some caps, and see if you can walk with all the caps on. And then maybe you can act out the part where he shook his finger and he stamped his feet. And then finally he threw his cap down and all the monkeys followed. You know what that makes me think of? You ever had your parents say, "Monkey see, monkey do"? That means sometimes monkeys imitate people, and sometimes you imitate other people. That means you do the same thing they're doing. Kind of like playing a game, as Simon says. Well, this week, I think you're going to have some fun gathering up some hats and trying to walk around your house with all of the hats on your head and not have them fall down. After you do that, try to act out parts of the story. That's what makes this such a fun story. Caps for sale, 50 cents a cap. All right, boys and girls, have fun with this. I'll see you later. Bye.